It's going live. Good morning. This is Sadi Phayet. Welcome to my channel. While you're here, please like, share, and subscribe to help me grow my channel and leave a comment to let me know what you think of my content, okay? Please remember that I have ebooks for sale on Amazon under Sadi Phayet, ranging in price from $1.50 to $6.99. So check that out when you get a chance, and thank you in advance for your support. Today's talk is going to be the journey to love, cultivating the gift of discernment. So, on my writer's Facebook page, I have shared a lot of my perspective when it comes to love that I've had most of my life. I've never really rushed into relationships or even looked for relationships. For most of my life, I haven't. And so I'm going to move this a little closer to my display. And then for some reason, my Excel keeps popping up. I don't know if I have a virus. Oh God, please. I don't know what this is doing. I really don't. It's crazy. Okay, is this still going? Okay. Wow, there it is again. I'm trying to ignore it and just, okay, okay. So, anywho, so one of the things, I put myself on a path to learn what love is. How do you really cultivate relationships? I went through last year. I went through most of the year with an old friend of mine to try and have a relationship. It was just, it was really a year of a lot of toxic cycles. It really just was. And so I've learned a lot from that, and then just from doing research based on what I've been through. And then, yeah, just going on a spiritual journey, seeking more spiritual information about what true love looks like, what real relationships resemble, how they come about. When spiritual people set themselves on a path to find their true wife or husband, what that path looks like, what that seeking is for, because a lot of times there'll be and I've said this in another video, there might be a period of chastity or celibacy. There might be a period of intense prayer and fasting and just focusing on God and whatever work of purpose that the person is determined to do, that benefits other human beings or the human family. And so, which are really serious things. And so that's what I want to talk about, is the difference between, when it's just toxic games, when it's really just, and when I say toxic, I mean the result, right? So if it's just games, somebody is coming to you in the name of relationships, but they're really just about the game of conquering someone sexually, or whatever. We'll get to that in a minute. I just want to show the difference, and I want to make it a very clear distinction, okay? So first, I wanted to define the word discernment. The discernment means, one definition is the ability to judge well. From a spiritual context, though, and they had it really from a Christian spiritual context, but to me, it's broader than just one arm of religion. So it says perception in the absence of judgment, with a view to obtain spiritual guidance and understanding. Initially, when I read perception in the absence of judgment, I was like, in the absence of judgment, what does that mean? So basically, I know from my part, the toxic part that I exhibited last year with my what I thought to be a friend of mine, I was very judgmental. You know what I mean? His way is like player ways. And so a lot of the way he communicates with women, and the way he communicated with me just dripped of game. You know what I mean? There were times when there was sincerity, but I think that's a part of his game. And but I didn't know that because we had always had an easy rapport. And so when you can perceive, though, someone's motives without having that negative spirit of judgment, where it's just it's like anger based, um, it's like a superiority complex too that comes into a judgmental person. There's an arrogance to it, as if you are above human frailty, when we all fall short. Even if you want to be godly in a discussion about this, we all fall short of God's glory and standard. The purpose for religion is to teach the standard of God. The purpose for spirituality is being on a journey to master what the human being is supposed to exhibit by using the standard of God, because that's our nature. The standard of God is just the doctrine or the teaching that brings us back, and it's just a first step. Learning the actual standard is only a first step. Cultivating it over time, looking for other ways to bring your connection to your creator deeper, where you can exhibit that connection in all areas of your life, that takes a lifetime. Might take many lifetimes, but that's a spiritual walk. That's the path, the true path for enlightenment, or to enlightenment. And so, in order, though, when you are approached by someone, or someone is in front of you in the name of love, whether you're dating, and it's almost like a crapshoot when you're just allowing random people to say they're interested in you. You have to almost look at them without that superiority, because that's just going to block and taint whatever you see. You could be misjudging a good person who just has certain ways because of an environment they were raised in or whatever. And that's not to make excuse for people that are true players, and come a certain way. Because these days, let me tell you, the game is deep, but it's the most shallow game I've ever seen. But it has the most devastating effects today. And I'm going to tell you why. So, today's game you can find in any realm of society, in any social construct. It used to be that people that went to church kept themselves pure, or in a more pure state. I mean, I'm sure you always had those who were wolves in sheep's clothing, hiding among the sheep, hiding among the lambs of God. But today, it could be anybody in the religion, from the top to the bottom, who is running the biggest game, whether it's for money, whether it's for sex, whether it's for ambition and fame and fortune, and whatever it is that has nothing to do with becoming enlightened. Yeah, the game is deep. But this is how the game. Oh, wait, let me not switch gears yet. So right now, there's a new thrust energetically that is coming through humanity, where people are leaving organized religion, even if they're staying within their religion, but they're on a much more spiritual path. They're looking for deeper connection spiritually with their creator, or the universe, or divine. There are different names people are using these days. Some people are going so far as to get into witchcraft for it. Some people are going so far as to use ancient practices of spirituality, where you might have these chime bowls. And I think this is a very Asian uh, practice. They're using a lot of ancient African, Egyptian, Asian, Indian, maybe some Native American practices, very indigenous practices, right? To bring about, to try and find a deeper connection to the divine realm, the divine flow, because in this realm of a physical universe, of the physical life that we're in, where we are in a body, because we are a soul. Our body is not eternal. Our soul is the eternal part of ourselves that never dies. So the world we live in, where things are physical, you can touch them, they have a function. You know what I mean? There is, we get sidetracked by that physical environment to the point that some of us only operate on based on the physical, which includes the physical act of love, which is not really love, it's just sex. You know what I mean? And that's why today's society is overly sexualized. Like, people aren't even using protection. You got people having babies like, oh, like there could be 10 babies on the grassy knoll. You know what I mean? Almost like a something from nature that flies over, that's, a male. I don't know if it'll be an insect, a bird, I don't know how it works. Maybe something in the sea that can fertilize many species of the female kind of their species, and then get them, they're all laying eggs by this one male, or however it works. But you have men that are having so many babies by a whole bunch of women all at the same time. Sometimes babies being born at the same time or within months, but different women. Nobody's using protection, as if AIDS doesn't exist, as if there's no herpes, gonorrhea, all kinds of disease, chlamydia, right, HPV, just willy-nilly. This is what's happening. And with this, when it comes to the sex, the way it's happening is in the guise, and this is accepted among the women too. The women are accepting this paradigm of game, okay, where the men come across like, yeah, we could be, let's just be friends. And they keep this very laid back demeanor, like you can talk to them about anything, or they might share all of their dirty secrets with you that aren't even secrets. They just, you know sharing a litany of conquests with you, and the conversation rarely goes above that. And if it does, it's brief philosophical moments to make you feel like you really have a friend in this person. You might talk about politics briefly. You might talk about coronavirus briefly. You may talk about racial issues and unrest and solutions briefly. You know what I mean? You may talk about dreams, the dreams you have, the dreams he has. And if they're similar, you're really looking at him Google eyed, like, this person and I just click. Is there such a thing as a soulmate? And there's a whole thing going on about that. In any spectrum of social reality and construct today, you have players that are working that. And if you don't have the power of discernment, not judgment, not arrogance. Because if you're arrogant, you believe that you're so evolved and so great within yourself that you would never fall victim to that. Matter of fact, your taste is so above that you would never entertain a player. Meanwhile, your past is riddled with men that have kept you at a distance, that you've had a lot of sex with, but because they had a nice lifestyle, or because they had money, or because they had an education and a great position in life, or whatever, you view that as a higher vibrational connection, when the only thing that was different was the class of it. This was a player in a higher class. You never met any family members. You never got called his girlfriend or his woman. Come on. That's what being judgmental and arrogant will get you. It will keep you blocked to the knowledge that you have been a victim of game too. You're not above it. So if you don't have a real discernment of what is going on, of the true feeling of someone being sincere in approaching you and pursuing you, you a victim like anybody else who's a victim, like anybody that's showing up to be an empty-headed victim. You just have some self-regard in your mind for yourself, but it's at an extreme where your pride tells you that it's something you could never fall victim to, but you do. So that's why this is relevant. And I've never been the kind of person that's arrogant. I've just have always, I'm very down to earth. I'm very basic. Okay. I've just always been like, you ain't got to do that. You ain't even got to say that. I'm only dealing with you for this anyway. I approached you and said, okay, let's have sex. So you run a game, bored. You know what I mean? I wouldn't spend, and I haven't had like one night stands. I've never done that. But when I tell you, you will hear the frogs croaking if you try and spit game on me when I approached you for what I wanted anyway. I would just stare at you out of boredom and be like, okay, can we go to Dave and Buster's? Can we go have some fun? I would just change the subject. So, after the first attempt at spitting game, which is a moot point with how I've always managed my social life with men, it just would never happen again. I would never hear it again. But last year, because my friend was such a deep player, he was deep in the game, like his whole life, just, oh my God. And he was running game on so many women always that he probably, it could get so deep that even the player doesn't know what he's saying from person to person, because his dialogue, his game doesn't change, man. It doesn't. Like, it doesn't. Okay. The excuses he gives one woman, he's giving another woman, he's giving another woman. And if you're not paying attention, you will not feel the emptiness. You will not discern the insincerity in it, in his energy, in his tone, in the fact that he ain't even got to look at you while he's talking. He could be checking somebody else out, whether you're in front of him or this type of person loves the videos, loves the inbox, loves video chat. That expedites his game because he can do a whole bunch and get you to really feeling him just on video chat a few times, so that by the time you all are face to face, all you doing is getting together to fuck. Like, for real, like you primed just because of video chat. Because most likely he's shown you his shit. He takes you there almost immediately. There's so much of that going around. Oh my God. Okay. Discernment. You have to really, unless you're on a spiritual path, and this is why I say there's a difference between the introduction to your relationship with God and being on a spiritual journey for enlightenment and deeper connection. That's a whole nother world. Some people spend their entire lives just on the introduction to their relationship with God. They live a whole crazy life away from their temple, mosque, church, synagogue, and come there for peace because they have not learned yet the spiritual truth that your entire life is a journey of self-mastery. So they can be living at home with a man that's miserable, makes them miserable, makes everybody in the house miserable, or is beating them, or they can't stop sleeping around and cheating on a good man. You know what I mean? All kinds of stuff. They can't stop shopping, can't stop eating, can't stop using drugs that are prescription drugs, can't stop using street drugs, but living the life of somebody in the choir, somebody, you know what I mean? A deaconess. Come on, somebody that teaches spiritual classes, but you addicted to drugs and nobody knows. Because one thing we've mastered today is how to keep up appearances. We're all the masters of that. And there's so much madness behind it. So, how then do you discern what's in front of you in the name of love or on the journey to love? Okay. First and foremost, the real journey to love starts with you. How do you even know what you want in a partner if you don't love yourself? If you don't love exactly how you're made, you have so much negative dialogue within your mind from your mother beating you down all your life and complaining about you, from somebody sexually abusing you and saying crazy things to you while they do it, or just the fact that nobody cared enough to save you from it. And so you created a dialogue that said you weren't important. You are nothing but garbage to be peed on, or, you know what I mean? Used and discarded. All kinds of toxicity that we absorb just as children that follow us into our adulthood. But what it brings us to is we don't love ourselves. And then a lot of times we go out into the world and attract, not that we attract to ourselves, but we accept, because an abuser is going to try it with everybody. Okay. The people that reject him are people that don't have, are not used to that and say, no, that's crazy. The people that are used to it are going to accept it and give it some type of classification and justification. Oh, he's just grumpy. He just needs something to eat and for somebody to be sweet to him. Okay, you can say that if you want to. Get on a spiritual path. Get on a journey for you want to learn to the highest, to the highest vibration of living in all areas of your life, including love, right? So, what does someone, and I have some of my, you all know I have a tarot channel. So I have some cards, right, from my tarot decks, and I want to show you the effects of game and the effects of real love, okay? Man. Yeah, so, I mean, let me tell you, and the hope that even if you've been used, even if you're currently being used, even if you're in a connection that you feel like spiritually you're connected with this person, but it never changes. Like the cycle, the toxic cycle never changes. Some people were raised in either a spiritual environment or a religious environment where God really is in their soul and really strong within them, but they come out, once they're grown, they come out into the world and just get into low vibrational living, and they stay on that. But their soul attracts spiritual people of the opposite sex. There's just something about them that magnetizes them to good people. And then they're breaking hearts. This is the card for heartbreak, Three of Swords. Okay. If you're in a connection with someone who knows how to dress, smells good, looks good, right? But he only comes in quick and leaves just as fast. He's only available temporarily and rarely. He's never available consistently as he would be if he was building a real relationship. Real relationships, there's no problem with you talking to me, if not every day, at least most days. Even a CEO of with the busiest schedule, and I said this, I think, on my last video, is gonna make time for a woman or a man that he is really or she is really trying to have a relationship with. You're going to make time for that person, because if you don't, somebody else will. Especially if and you got game being run on just people that are the total package. People that are the total. Look at Sierra before she met her husband, right? She was with a player, right? And the effects of that is what she experienced. Constant heartbreak, I'm sure. Another thing, and these are people, this is the devil card. It doesn't mean players are devils, but devil only is a classification of undeveloped God force within you. You're using that little part of God that's in you, your soul, the brightness of your soul, to harm others, to use others. So it's undeveloped, but it's to an excessive degree. That's why the devil is here. It's excessive, it's addictive, it's codependent. You get this person because if someone comes in, right, and gives you just funny banter, conversation, affection, you eat good food with them, they turn you out sexually. Maybe they do things to you that's never been done, and it's just the best shit. And then they spend a little more time with you, maybe on the phone after that. You get together with maybe another couple of weeks of making love and having fun, then all of a sudden they drop off the planet and you don't hear from them for 3 weeks to a month, and then they're right back in. And you go through that for a whole year or two of seeing them and having that intensity of experience with them once a month. You know what you were just falling into? You are now codependent and addicted to them like a motherfucker. That's what game is today. And you're fine with the classification. This is what trips me out. And I'm learning so much just from watching Paternity Court. I put on my Facebook page yesterday that Paternity Court was healing me. Because the discernment, man, is so real. It's adding to the discernment I'm already seeing from what I went through with this quote unquote friend of mine. And I'm starting to feel like maybe he was only a friend so that we could one day be this friend, have this fucking friends thing. Now, I'm a mature woman. So I've never experienced this in my life. Even when I've had, chosen men for lovers, it's still been like a mini relationship. Like I wasn't cheating on them. We're not cheating on them if we just lovers, but I wasn't sleeping with nobody else. We would spend most of our time together for like 6 or 7 months. It would be intense and it would be great. And when it ended, I was cool. They were cool. Well, sometimes they were a little attached, but still. But I'm saying that to say that somebody keeping me at a distance, I've never experienced that ever, 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 ever. Never. Because what happens when you want to keep me at a distance is I keep going more and more distant. You don't want to spend time with me? Fuck it. I don't want to spend time with you anymore either. Great. No, I don't chase you after you go away from me. But because I had been friends with this person or thought in my mind, and see, I'm the type of friend, I'm a real friend. I'm loyal. You're my friend. I got your back. That type of thing. So that's how I viewed him, that we were friends. Because I could reach out to him anytime. We have some good conversation, catch up on each other, care about how each other's doing. And then we just wouldn't talk until, we thought about each other again. But so that was the mindset I went into it. So I was real vulnerable, which I never let myself become. Discernment. I got discernment like a motherfucker right now. Okay. And I'm trying to share that with you. You have to have self-reflection. Do I have that card? This is an oracle deck of cards that just give you a lot of spiritual insight. Self-reflection, man. If you don't look at if you just sitting around crying about what someone has done to you, that is a victim. You cannot be a victim unless you agree to someone victimizing you. because you have power. You have the ultimate power in your life. And if you need to break out of watching your mother be physically abused or treated a certain way, and that's normal for you, get counseling. Get counseling so you can put that to rest and have discernment in that. But you have to look at, you have the power to allow. I was just telling my children yesterday, the monster can't hurt you unless you invite them into the house. I don't even bring men around my children, ever. I don't even bring strange women around my children. Shit. You got all kinds of female pedophiles these days. Definitely you could throw a rock and hit a male pedophile. I'm telling you, my children, grown men, look at my children walking. Do you hear me? That's crazy. And it didn't just start. It's been going on for 2 years. My children are only 12 and 14. What the fuck? So, no, I don't do that. But back to this. When the game comes, right? And the way it comes, where it gets you codependent on this person, where you just feel like, oh my God, this is the love of my life. And if you following, if you happen to be following this soulmate trend and craze, where women are strung out over married men, over men that said hi one day and looked them in the eye, and they felt like that was a soul connection, and now they strung out trying to pray this man back into their life because they supposed to be together. There's truth in it, and there's madness because of it. So now you got women strung out, codependent, stuck in life. A lot of them that were on serious career paths. You can't work, you can't think, you can't sleep. This is 9 of Swords. This is nightmares, sleeplessness, worry, because you are falling victim to game. This person keeps you in an energy where they have already told you a few things about yourself that's not good enough. Because the purpose of them telling you about their conquests is so they can tell you how they've always been with the baddest bitches. And if you were just if this was tweaked about you, you would be one of those. Or they just might, say a little something offhand. Well, yeah, your toes are kind of, well, yeah, I can see you would be your finest. I mean, you'd be a 10. I mean, you about a 7 or 8. You will be a 10 if. No, that is not someone that loves you. Someone that loves you would love you for exactly what you are, not trying to change you. And how about if you feel like you need to change him, you don't love him either. You're really just obsessed because he leaves you out in the cold, running game, confused and shit every other week. And you think you in a relationship. You think you sincerely love this person. It's an illusion. The 8 of Swords. This is the 8 of Swords. I'm just giving you some lessons. This is what tarot is. It gives clarity to a whole bunch of game that's going on. For people that think they're in a love relationship, and I don't care if you're married to this person. You think husbands ain't running game? You think men have not married women that they know are not the type of woman they're attracted to the most, but they want somebody at home to take care of them? It's a marriage of convenience. That's what they married you for. And you feel so flattered because he's just so smooth and beautiful and popular or famous or whatever. And not that you have to look at yourself as not being good enough for him. That's not the reality. But when you see, if you ever not sneak up, just happen upon him, and the type of women he's talking to in the street don't match you, come on. That's game. You got gamed into a marriage for his convenience. That's discernment. And because you were flattered, and he wooed you. He ran the game on you for what he wanted you for. He wanted you to be his main chick, but in a convenient way. You could cook. You love to be at home. You wouldn't be out in the street with somebody trying to woo you away from him. You would always be there for him. It's all about him. That's game. Okay? And all of these negative energies of stress, of your ego being killed because he brings you down to make you feel like you're not good enough, but he's going to be with you because he loves you. If you're not good enough to him, he does not love you. That's not what it means to say I love you in spite of yourself. No, that's not love. It's not, because his activities have not changed. This has not changed. He has not wanted to change himself for you. He has made you his convenient for how it allows him to flow in the world however the fuck he wants to. And because you're a homebody and a decent woman, you're going to stay with him because he keeps, he might keep a good friendship with you. He loves the convenience of what you bring, but he's still cheating on you. He neglects you at times, like purposely, just like the game he runs on the women in the street, because it keeps you codependent, addicted to him. You don't even know why you love him so much because you don't feel happy. If you feel like this, doesn't she look distraught? Doesn't she look lost and shit? You got 3 swords in your heart. That's not happiness. Now let's get off of what love isn't, because that can be depressing. But I just, I wanted this to be very clear. I never write down a whole talk because I like to speak from my heart. This is what real love looks like. Real love is rooted in God because God is love. Divine, highest positive energy, whatever you want to call it. When you are that kind of person, I don't care what you look like. When you have a big, beautiful heart, when you have learned discernment and to set boundaries, when you love yourself to the point that the life you've created for yourself, you get on a journey and you start praying more and you're meditating to bring the positive energy you put out in your prayer back into you. When you have a very natural plant-based diet, exercise regime, because all of that makes your physical toxins in your body come out, get out of you. It makes mental and spiritual and emotional toxins in your mind, in your heart, in your soul cycle out. And now you are free to build the kind of life you've always wanted. And you focus on that and you work hard for that. And you decide nobody is coming into my life that does not reflect what I'm on, the path that I'm on, because they would be on the same path. That's when real love happens. That's this shit right here. And that's why these people who are caught up in this soulmate paradigm or seeking that are getting like taken down by game because they want that. They're sincere women. But these players don't care if they're dealing with a godly woman. Most times they seek those out because they know the care she's going to give. They know the sincere love and devotion she's going to give to him who does not even deserve it because he's not returning it. Steve Harvey said in his book, Act Like a Woman, Think Like a Man, and in his many lectures about it, he said, there's only one woman a man will change for, and he'll know her when he meets her. He said it doesn't take a long time for a man to know what he wants a woman for. So that's why you got to be careful, because a woman is the same way these days. There's so many scandalous women and they all on paternity court because oh, you got to watch that show. Not just for like it's entertaining to see somebody's always getting their heart broken, male and female. And that's not entertaining. It's but it's instructive. And the judge is herself on that. She has that spiritual wisdom and she uses it in a powerful way. It's so beautiful. But that's the discernment. That's why I'm getting discernment from it, because her discernment is popping. Okay. And a lot of times, the victim's discernment is not. They're getting their hearts, men are getting heartbroken because they've put time and love and money, garnished wages where they broke because they can't even live, they can't even get paid from the money they get paid. Most of it goes for child support on children that aren't even theirs. And here's a lesson for some of you that are good men. Do not sign birth certificates if you have doubt about a child being yours. Because if you do it just to make a woman that you really love in your heart, but you know there's stuff about her that's not right, just to please her, just to please her family because they adding pressure, or please your family, but you know there's been she's cheated on you before or there's rumors about her and she's just not right, don't sign it. Because even if that baby turns out not to be yours, this is what I learned from watching this damn show. You're still held for child support because you signed the birth certificate. And some states will allow you to get out of it once you can prove from a paternity test that those are not your children, but some states will still hold you to it. That's the craziest shit ever. Also, if the woman names you as the father of her child and takes you to court for child support and you don't show up, because you don't show up, the court is going to assume you are the father and trying to dodge child support, and they're going to garnish you and or put you in jail. Show up for the court so that you can say, I don't know that I'm this child's father. I'd like a paternity test. Get the actual facts before you sign anything, before you are held responsible. But if you don't show up, you're going to be held responsible. And even after it gets proven that you're not the father, you may still be held responsible. Know it. Know what's going on with this. Because man, shit is deep today. Game is deep. It's deep, but it's being played like just in some laid back, effortless shit. Like, yeah, we cool. We just cool. We just friends. We've been friends forever. I mean, we've always come in and out of each other's life when we miss each other. You know what I mean? He'll act like he loves you and misses you so much. That's game. That's game. And some people are so good at making you think they are into you. They are using you. I've seen women on this show that have multiple men giving her money for the same baby. And don't let a woman be pretty. Man, the manipulation, man. When it comes to you all and a pretty woman, I'm talking to men. Oh, it's just deep and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking for men and women. It's heartbreaking. It's terrible. So anyway, a true love match is where it almost feels like it's too good to be true. This is 10 of Cups, what people call bliss or happy ever after. Almost like a fairy tale. It's not a fairy tale. It's just that when you're vibing high and you've done a lot and you've accumulated the kind of life and spiritual flow in your life, where you keep your body clean. The body is an instrument for the as a conduit for the soul. But when your soul is in a body where it's free to flow, It connects with divine continually. When we're blocked physically with mucus, with toxic thinking and toxic beliefs, divine can't reach you through all of that. Not continually. Once in a while, yep, anybody can harness the divine energy once in a while. But this is where you are in a flow continually. And that's why when you meet a person of that condition, when love sparks, it doesn't stop growing. It continues to grow. Look at this. You have the strength to cultivate this enlightenment within yourself. You meet someone with that same enlightenment. This is the infinity symbol, constant flow. So the love also grows and is a constant, it's consistent. It's not something that is cut off. It's not something that you get ghosted from. No, it's consistent. The love is always there. Even if this person then goes through a toxic cycle, because the energy of this kind of love can be scary for some people, men and women. But eventually the people would get themselves together so that they don't have to, leave each other. In some cases, everybody's walk is not going to be the same, but the love would never change. You would know it's real love. You would feel it. You would experience it. Okay. Another sign that this is true love is there's a partnership. There's a natural partnership. You help one another in your life purpose, in your work together. Look at, what was the young man that got killed in California? Nipsey Hussle and his wife or girlfriend. I don't know if they were married. They were a partnership. She was well manifested and in a life purpose work before she met him. When they came together, they were like an empire together. Just beautiful. That's how true love is. It's a partnership. It's someone that you not only can work together, because there's all kind of people you can work with, no matter what your skill level, no matter what your talent. You could throw a rock and reach somebody in that same field that you can work with, but this is different. It would stand out differently than anybody else. And guess what? Because of that high vibration of love and flow, it brings in money. Real love brings in all kinds of opportunities and abundance in all levels. I mean, in all areas of your life, including money. Including money. Okay? I'm just saying, these are two different situations. So learn what it is. Do research. There's so many people that give guidance on love, so many motivational videos. I watch motivational videos every day to help me level up who I am, how I want to operate, my purification on all levels, my devotion to my creator and myself on all levels. I even tweak how much I let my children impose upon me every day. And when I'm like, no, I deserve to focus on myself. And I keep posting this one video, and it's not just one, because there are several out there and they're not very long. I personally don't have time to sit down and watch an hour video. Sorry that this video is almost an hour. But I think, I think my dialogue is such that it's not boring, but that's the only way I can watch a long video. But I'm saying that to say is a lot of times these videos are 10 minutes or shorter, sometimes 4 minutes, sometimes as much as maybe 15, 20 minutes. I can listen to many like that back to back. And I do. I start my day with that. After I've had prayer. I don't fill my mind with other people's thoughts and words before I talk to God. I don't do that. Okay. But after that, I do, because it gets me pumped up for my day. All right. So I hope this was of some service to you. That was my intention. And I hope you like it. Let me know in the comments. Peace.